I did not even wear a helmet at the start because I wanted to be that cool kid की लोकांनी बघायला पाहिजे की कोण चालवते bike. My age kids, or rather 20 to 28 is the era where people mostly buy bikes. Yes, definitely buying a bike is very easy, but maintaining and keeping it at a pristine condition is extremely expensive and difficult. Most important thing I would say in riding is your vision, because it's simple. Like, you look where you want to go. Track completely grounds you. It teaches you what you are as a rider. I had a few laps and I was going normally. So on the turn 15 at BIC, a 10R guy overtook me from the inside lane, and I got target fixated because I did not know vision back then, and he ended up in a high side. And I followed him outside the track and I almost ended up hitting him. Actually, a misconception that knee down makes you a better rider. Knee down is just a byproduct of you going faster.
Is track racing expensive?
If I want to put it down in numbers, average cost for a track day at Budh International Circuit for a normal person going for a first time is around.
That's a lot.
It's still expensive.
It's expensive, yeah. Today, I have the privilege of hosting Atharva Mandke. He's somebody I had bumped into long back when I had gone to a motor accessory store to fit some fancy things on my bike, and I've known him ever since. Atharva, thank you for doing this. I've been wanting to get you on my show for a long time, so welcome to SpokedOut.
Thank you so much. I'm happy to be here, and this is my first ever podcast.
No.
So I might be a little nervous.
No. I'm also nervous. Like I said, 21 years of being behind the camera, but when I'm in front of it, I still get nervous. I still get jitters. I think
that's a long time.
Yeah, correct. I think my earliest memory of you goes back to the accessories store in Lavasa.
Biking Superstore.
Yeah, I'd come there for some bags or some fitments, and I think that's the time I had met you, along with Tushar. I think both
Tushar,
of you were,
Tushar.
Working in that store. So I had no idea that you were into bikes and you were doing so much of things into biking and motorcycling, and starting from a scooty pep 75cc moped to doing some really serious hardcore track racing has been totally impressive. So can you just touch upon what your journey has been in terms of the progression of vehicles in your life, and how did it start? What age were you?
So I might be a very bad influence for the new era teenagers. I do not promote what I'm about to say, but if you want to get into track and stuff, it's better that you start really early, because after 15, 16, that is actually late. So my journey goes long way back. I think I was in 6th or 7th standard. My dad had a scooty pep, and I always fancied motorcycles and cars. All my toys were always Hot Wheels and bikes, and this is way before Doom and all came. So that of course had an influence, but this was something else. So I used to sit on my dad's scooter on the front seat, and he used to give me the throttle, and I used to control the throttle and used to balance it out, and that's how I got the taste of motorcycles or two-wheelers. Then slowly I started learning the moped. I had small falls here and there. I started riding the scooty regularly. After that, I was crazy for motorcycles, and I think just after my 8th standard, we got me a Pulsar 180. That was my first ever geared motorcycle. I learned riding on that. I did not know how to ride till that point of time. So one of my friends who was elder to me, he taught me how to ride, because I had ridden a Splendor once, but the gears were different. On the Splendor, it was all at the back, and Pulsar was a 1 down and 4 up. So that was pretty confusing. So it took time, but then I rode that bike for almost 38,000 kilometers.
Wow.
And then I got bored of it.
Oh God, crazy.
Then the newest bike in that era which had come was the Yosung 250, and it looked like a Hayabusa at that point of time, and I had just passed 9th, I think. This was just before I started my 10th, and I was mad for it, and thankfully my parents were supportive about me riding, and then we got the Yosung 250. I rode that bike. I learned everything on that bike, because that bike was 190 kg and I was a tiny little kid on that big bike. But I always made sure that I did not go into any police trouble or cause any big accidents. Here and there, small gears were there. I used to go to Lakshmi Auto, because that was the only store I knew, which is located on the JM Road. I think there were no branded and big gears available back then. So I had zero knowledge. But step by step, I learned it along my journey. And after riding the Yosung for almost 2.5 years, I wanted something more. So this India's ISF, India Superbike Fest, which used to happen in Amanora.
Yeah.
So I had been there with my friends and family, and I saw the Daytona there. I sat on one person's bike, and I felt very different, and that was something I really was keen on riding. It was super tall. I couldn't even reach down on the bike because it was pretty tall. But then somehow I convinced my parents to get me a 600cc because technically I had come a long way in CC segment. So it was 75, then 180 and 250, and 600 totally does make sense after riding that kind of bikes. So we went to test ride the Daytona. I did not even get a test ride. We had a little fight at the showroom. No, I want the test ride because I want to buy the bike. And before riding, how would I even know if I'm going to able to handle it or no?
Yeah, and it's a big commitment in terms of money.
Yeah, it was a big commitment. I think it was for around 11,40,000 in 2014. So we booked it on my dad's birthday. It was 26th of December 2014. And they did give me a test ride eventually when we paid the booking amount. And that's where my actual journey began. Because with that bike, my whole lifestyle changed. My friends changed, my clothing changed, even what I eat, where I sit, everything completely changed. Because I think owning a bike is not just owning a super bike or a motorcycle, but I think it's a lifestyle.
I think it's committing to a different lifestyle.
It's a completely different world compared to what I was doing in earlier with the older motorcycles. Those are normal and probably in the commuter segment, but this was a different ballgame altogether. So on the Daytona, I started riding properly. I did not have a riding suit at the start. I did not even wear a helmet at the start because I wanted to be that cool kid की लोकांनी बघायला पाहिजे की कोण चालवते बाईक. Because I wanted to feel really cool because it was a big bike, and तेव्हा I don't think there were a lot of super bikes overall in Pune.
आणि कळलं कोण राईड करते तरच पैसा वसूल आहे.
Exactly. So that was my teenage era, but eventually जसं I started meeting elder people, the guys who were in this since a long time. So त्यांनी मला gears important समजवलं. Then I bought a suit and I started going to Lavasa. So Lavasa was my playground for almost 3-4 years. I've burned 3-4 tire sets of Super Cosa. And I learned everything in Lavasa. My first knee down was in Lavasa. First leaning, cornering, everything was in Lavasa. Like I was the guy who used to deny every motorcycle ride unless it's Lavasa. And at that point of time, I think Pune was a little safer. Traffic was less. Lavasa roads were amazing. And there was no oncoming traffic at that point. So I used to practice there daily. I used to watch a lot of YouTube videos of track. And I used to think कि hey, track वगैरह अपन करना रहेगा. I don't know how expensive it's gonna be. I had zero clue. But then eventually I got the right company. I met the right people. And they took me to the track. So my first ever track day was in 2016, which was the Buddh International Circuit. And it was crazy. Like I still get goosebumps if I remember that day.
All right.
And since then, I have been riding on the track very regularly. And I promote track riding more than road riding because track is something which is completely safe. I know it's expensive, not affordable for everybody because racing is a very expensive sport.
Of course it is.
But if you can experience it even once, like that is crazy.
Definitely. You're going one step further. I would actually start at the basic that owning a motorcycle itself is a very premium hobby.
Right.
You know, and then of course track racing is a totally different ballgame.
Right.
Yeah. So go on.
I would agree on that because today's generation, rather my age kids or rather 20 to 28 is the era where people mostly buy bikes.
Yeah.
And they think buying a super bike is easy. Yes, definitely buying a bike is very easy, but maintaining and keeping it at a pristine condition is extremely expensive and difficult.
Yes, agreed. And then it never stops there. Huh? Then you've got the accessories, then you've got the helmets, and then you've got different types of those. Then you've got mesh, then you've got Gore-Tex.
You've got jacket leathers.
It's never ending.
It's never ending.
Yeah.
Main is exhaust. That's the most expensive part, and that's what the hype is about for a superbike, the sound. And without exhaust, people think it doesn't complete the motorcycle. But it's very subjective. Like it depends what goal you have with your motorcycle and what you expect out of it. That depends on the person.
Right. So through this whole journey, what are you with right now? Like what all are you riding right now? So
currently I have a decent collection of motorcycles. I'll start from the lowest cc. So I have a R15. I bought my friend's bike. It's a used bike. And I use it for go-kart tracks. Because big track days are very, very expensive. We'll come to that further, of course. And in Pune, we have 2-3 go-kart tracks where we can train when we are off season. We are not riding big bikes. and it is nearby, it's cheaper, and the bikes are easier to maintain.
So you can take these bikes on the go-kart track?
Yes.
Oh.
So one of the track which I regularly ride is Raftar in Wakad. So that's a go-kart track. So we hire the track from 6 a.m. to 12 p.m. on the weekends, and they charge very decent. It's 2,500 for 5-6 hours, and then we practice there. And riding on the small track plays a major role because riding fast is easy. Going through slow corners is the main difficult thing on any track rather. That's where real skill comes in. Because when you learn on a small bike, handling a big bike becomes very easy because there's no electronics, there's nothing to save you basically. It depends on pure skill. And the latest big bikes have traction control, ABS and whatnot electronics, of course.
Okay. Got it. Yeah. And the lineup of bikes.
Sorry.
R15, yeah.
So the R15 is there for these go-kart tracks. Then I have a Xpulse 200 which I take for off-road and trails because little bit of off-road training is also required. Then I just recently bought the V-Strom 800 in January. That's for touring. That's a new genre that I'm exploring. I love exploring in nature. So I've done a few rides on that as well. And my primary and the main big bike is the ZX-10R, which has done 1200 kilometers in the last 3 years. But purely on track. That bike is not road legal now. It doesn't have headlights. It doesn't have number plates. It doesn't have ABS. And it doesn't have road tires.
All right.
So it's on slicks.
Okay. I'll come to more of the terminology and all of that later. But just going back a little bit in terms of when you said you learned everything on the Lavasa road. What was it about that place? Like, was it the condition of the roads? Of course, you mentioned less traffic. Did you have a close brush over there with maybe
I did have a crash actually in Lavasa. So one fine day, one of my friends and me were riding to Lavasa. I had just changed my tires and I was probably a little overconfident because that age is such that you have high adrenaline and risk-taking capacity is more compared to today.
Correct. How many years ago was this?
This was my crash was in 2017.
No, but when you were practicing on the Lavasa road, how
I think 10 years. 10
years ago.
I am 27 right now. I was 17, 18.
Okay. And now if you look at today's conditions, what are your thoughts on doing all the track things on roads like ours and traffic like ours and the conditions that are prevailing right now in the city in terms of the roads?
I would say not at all. It's not safe anymore. And two of my friends I've seen two very big crashes which they have not recovered from. Since then, I have a very bad mental block of doing that stuff on the road. And leaving that apart also, we don't have the roads for super sport bikes. I think adventure bike would make a sense if you want to ride regularly on the roads.
Yeah. I'm sold on adventure bikes because after I got my adventure bike, I don't think I even touch my other bikes as much as I should. Riding is far off. But you still see a lot of these people on their street bikes, on their adventure bikes, even bikes like R15 and all that, and doing a lot of stunts on the road. And when I am touring, I can see these bikes being pushed to the limit. And forget them, but I'm a little scared for them in terms of what's going to happen to them. So if at all they were going to do all these things, what do you think they should first implement in terms of their own safety?
I think honestly gears, of course. And if possible and if it's affordable, they should get a riding school course done.
Okay. Any you recommend?
California Superbiking School, which happens in Chennai.
All right.
It's pretty expensive. It's 75,000 for 3 days. But it just doesn't change you as a rider. It completely changes you as a person. It changes your perspective how you ride on the road. So basically, they teach you everything. How you sit on the bike, how you brake, where do you sit on the bike, how your hand should be, to your braking, to your gearing, to your vision. That is the most important thing I would say in riding is your vision, because it's simple. You look where you go.
Correct.
Like you look where you want to go.
Correct. Exactly. Or the other way of saying it, like you said, is wherever you're looking is where you'll go.
Going, yeah.
So that's such a simple thing, but if you follow that, I think I have tried doing that, and it's only after 4 to 5 years of riding that I started realizing that it actually works. Like even counter steering works. Yeah. Looking where you're going works. So I think
definitely, I think the most importance of the vision is when you're riding on the road, because there is a lot of people, dogs or animals crossing. So most of the time what happens is the person riding, he's fast definitely on the highway, and somebody's crossing, he doesn't know where you're going, but you can see him. And if you get fixated on him, you're going to end up inside him.
Yeah.
So the right way to do this is find your way out and keep looking and completely ignore him. So that's how you can save yourself, because you look where you go, and when you fix it, it's called target fixation.
Correct.
So you eventually end up, he'll go left, you will go left, he'll go right, that's what happens, and that's how most of the crashes happen.
Agreed. Now, looking back on your journey after your scooty pep, when you moved on to a geared vehicle, what were your first 3 upgrades, especially in terms of gear, in terms of your own habits, and in terms of the techniques of riding a motorcycle?
I think the first upgrade was a helmet, which I had got from Shakti Sport, a brand name Aaron. I think that helmet was for around 1700 rupees at that point of time. I don't even know what ratings it had, but that was the basic. Then I got a normal leather jacket. And in terms of riding style, it was completely different because it was a heavier and taller bike. So I had to adapt a little bit and of course accept a little bit of responsibility because I did not have license at that point of time. And anything that would happen would cause my dad trouble. So that was one thing I was definitely aware of.
Of course, yeah. And after all this, when you realize that you want to go on track, do you still have a vivid memory of your first day on track?
Definitely.
Can you take me through that?
Actually, I have a very strong memory of my first track day because I saw a very big crash on my first track day.
Oh God.
And it was so scary, I did not ride for the next 3 sessions.
Okay.
So when we went to track, it was of course pretty expensive. I did not know what mods to do. I was on basic road tires. I just did a basic service on the Daytona and just took it. So the track process starts with transport. Basically, you have to arrange a truck. You pay for the transport. You transport your motorcycle to Delhi. Then you fly yourself. You need a Zoom car to roam around in Delhi. The bike ends up on the track only. So you unload the bike and then there is briefing on day 1. And then you start riding. So it's a big track. BIC is 5.15 kilometers. But one thing I noticed was what I used to do in Lavasa was completely different from the track. Like I used to think I am a very professional and fast rider in Lavasa, but that everything changed.
Correct.
Like track completely grounds you. It teaches you what you are as a rider. Basically, it shows you what level of a rider you are, honestly speaking. Because I used to do knee downs in Lavasa, try to lean hard, and on the track I could not do anything. Because in Lavasa, we ride at 80-90 km max at that point. But on the track, your average speed is maybe 150, 170, depending on what kind of a rider you are. And we are always used to riding on one side of the road. For example, any road. But on the track, you have both the lanes to use. So you exactly don't know how to lean your bike, where you should be on the track. So that takes a lot of effort to get used to. And sadly, I did not go to any riding school back then. But now I definitely do because they teach you that there.
Okay. All right.
And about the crash, so it was my first or second session. I had a few laps and I was going normally. So on the turn 15 at BIC, a 10R guy overtook me from the inside lane and I got target fixated because I did not know vision back then. And he ended up in a high side. And I followed him outside the track and I almost ended up hitting him. And it was a bad crash and I was so scared. I was very nervous, so I did not ride the next 3 sessions.
Okay.
I thought to myself, this is not for you, boss. You are better up on road.
Correct. So when you take your bike there, typically can anybody go on track and ride their bike, or does it have to have does it need to meet certain standards or certain checkpoints? What is the process? Or can anybody just take any bike and ride on?
No, anybody can take any motorcycle, honestly. But as of now, you need a basic level 1 and 2 training from any FMSA affiliated school.
Okay.
Back then, there were no strict rules. So even if you don't know how to ride, you could just end up on the track for an open track day. But now you need a certification to do an open track day.
Okay. And speaking about the bike, what are some of the performance modifications that you have done on your track bike?
So I have done these mods over a span of 3 years on the 10R. However, I needed a mod. So I did not want to mod it all at once. I wanted
to cut you. Did you do it out of experience? So I have to change this to that.
Exactly. I did it out of experience.
Okay.
So first I started with a basic exhaust, the Arrow exhaust, because it shed almost 4 kgs from the stock. And you need a free flow exhaust and a performance air filter for performance. So that was the basic. So my first track day on the 10R was with these mods and race tires.
Okay.
So race tires I had bought them but did not use it on the first track day. So first day I got used to the bike because 1000cc segment was completely new for me. Because Daytona used to top out at 247 km and 10R does 300 like very easy.
Wow.
The 0 to 100 itself is under 2.8. So it's
overwhelming. These kind of.
it was completely overwhelming.
Yeah. When you say track tires, how are they different from your street tires?
So track tires look completely bald. They don't have any treads on it. But on the contrary, they are super soft. So these are known as slicks. And to use these slicks, you need a tool which is called a tire warmer. So you wrap your tires in the tire warmers, heat them up to 80 degrees. So when you enter the track, your tires are at optimal temperature, which is 80 to 90 degrees. So you have full grip from the first corner itself.
By virtue of them sticking to the track, like.
Yes, they are very sticky.
Okay.
But they have a very less lifespan, I would say. So for a start, I would say they last me 1.5 track day. That is 3 days of riding time. But to shorten it down, it's just 7 hours of riding on the track.
Okay.
And plus, they are very expensive, around 65 to 80,000 for a set. Depends on what compound you want.
Okay, so the material also matters.
Yes.
Okay.
So there are 3 compounds: soft, medium, and hard.
Okay.
And 4, sorry. And 4th is winter. So winters we don't use in India. So there's a brand called Pirelli, and the SC2 is the compound which I usually use.
Okay.
So that's a medium soft.
Okay, and these tires will let you go around the track. How much can you race with a set of tires?
I would say around 300 kilometers max. So 2.5 days of track time.
Okay.
So if I buy the tires today, I will use them today, tomorrow, and next track day till the first afternoon.
Okay.
And then I have to change them.
All right. So you spoke about the exhaust, you spoke about the air filter, you spoke about the tires.
So that was the basic mod.
All right. Anything else which you thought was a good mod or a add-on?
Now with all these power, you need good brakes also.
Oh yeah, of course.
So first thing I did was deleted my ABS, because ABS on track increases your braking distance.
I see. Okay.
In general, when you jam the ABS and ABS activates, it increases your braking time and drags you. And you don't want that to happen on the track, because you are in control, you have lots of grip. Even if you delete the front ABS and jam the front, it's not going to lose the grip because you're already on slicks and the tires are hot. So I deleted the ABS for a start. That got me a few seconds, but then I outgrew the brakes and I needed something more.
Okay.
So I shifted to race brake pads first.
Okay.
And then a racing master cylinder.
Okay.
Even that couldn't suffice, so finally I had to change the whole braking line setup. Now on the Kawasaki ZX-10R we get rubber brake lines. And after 4 or 5 laps of hot laps on the track, the oil boils and the rubber expands. So you drop the brake pressure. And to get rid of that, I had to put steel braided lines, and I had to delete the ABS for that.
Okay.
And after that, now that setup is going well for me. But in future, I do plan to change the rotors, like the disc plates as well. But I'm not there yet.
Okay. On a track, if somebody was new, do you think a small bike will help you sharpen your skills, or do you think a big bike will help you do that? And what are the skills that a small bike could sharpen that will come in handy on a big bike?
I think honestly speaking, you should always learn on a small bike. Because in my case, it was the opposite. I learned on a big bike, and recently when I started the riding the R15, I couldn't ride it. Because it was so small, tiny, without any electronics, because I was dependent on all the electronics and riding aids to save me. But this completely depends on your skill set. So if you learn every small drill from braking, vision, corners on a small bike, on a big bike, you will be safer and you will be more happier. Because you've already developed your skill set, and then there are riding aids to save you, of course.
Of course, yeah. But then again, you change to any bike, getting attuned with the pulse of the bike, the center of gravity, how it handles. I think that must be happening for any bike, right?
I think the basics technique remains the same. Of course, dynamic changes. But you always feel stable on a bigger bike because the wheelbase, the tires, everything.
Okay. If someone were to go, let's say, and try out a track, let's say somebody wants to get an experience of a track day, which is in the least, which bike people need to have, like they can have fun with this bike on the track?
I think the 390 to RC390 or the R3 would be a great choice. The 300cc segment, or even the Aprilia 457.
Okay.
Because that is a sweet spot, not too powerful, but not too underpowered as well. And on a track like Chennai, it is perfect. It's faster than 600s or 1000cc's.
Okay. Any crashes, injuries on the track?
Luckily, not even one till now.
Okay, but you have had crashes in the past, you said.
I've had crashes on off-roads. I tore my ligament once. So I did not know about what concept is the knee brace. So basically it locks your knee's angle and does not let it hyperextend.
Okay.
So I had a bad jump on my X-Pulse and I hyperextended my knee and I tore my meniscus. So that was 1 year of riding.
Okay. I know how that feels because, of course, not because of riding, but because of excessive gymming, I have torn my right knee meniscus, and it's
very painful,
and it never heals.
I would say fractures are better than soft tissue injuries.
Yeah, definitely. From performance modifications, and like we are talking about the sky being the limit in terms of what you can do on yourself and on the bike. Is track racing expensive for a beginner also? And I don't know if you're at an intermediate level or a pro level. Can you take me through what kind of figures you're looking at?
Honestly, racing and track days is a very expensive sport, and you have to compromise on a lot of things if you want to do this full time, for sure. I think, but expense is very subjective for a newcomer and a veteran rider, because for a newcomer, you don't really need mods. You can just buy a new bike and go to the track directly, because at that point of time, you don't need racing brakes, you don't need an exhaust, you don't need racing tires. But for a person like me who does regular track day and is chasing lap times, everything needs to be pitch perfect. So if I want to put it down in numbers, average cost for a track day at Budh International Circuit for a normal person going for a first time is around 1,10,000, 1,20,000.
That's
it's still expensive.
It's expensive, yeah.
So honestly speaking, riding on the track is not that expensive. Going there is. Because the track is far away, you have to transport yourself. Then you need a Zoom car to roam around in Delhi. You need to transport your motorcycle, the service, and then the track fees. The track fees stay around 48,000 for an open track day. And if you are going for a riding school, is around 60 to 80,000. It depends on what riding school you're going. And for a person like me, mainly my extra expense is the tires. Because once you go faster, your tire wear out increases. So I need to, at least now, my track days will be starting from this October till Feb. So I'm doing 4 track days. So I will need exactly 4 or 5 sets of tire for those 4 track days.
Damn.
Because it's unpredictable.
Yeah. So in terms of a list of perishables, tires will be at the top?
Yeah, tires, brake pads. Those are the main 2 things which are perishable items, because that depends rider to rider, how much you are on the brakes, how much time, how aggressive you are on the throttle. It all depends. Like even if we both ride the same bike with the same setup, your and my tire wear out will be completely different.
Because of the riding style.
Because of the riding style and the suspension setup.
Correct.
Your weight, that is also one thing that counts.
Correct. So if I were to ask you, spending that kind of money and going on the track, or spending that kind of money, taking your V-Strom and just going into the mountains of Himachal Pradesh, what would you choose?
Oh, it's a tough one. But I think till the time I have the age factor and the reflexes, I would be still inclined towards track day. Because touring is something that person of any age can ride.
Okay, correct. Agreed. Are you looking at upgrading your bikes in terms of the track, or do you think that have you pushed the limit in terms of what the bike can do right now, or you have a long way to go?
This is a good question actually, brother. You could ask one more question. Why the ZX-10 in the world of Ducatis and BMWs? Right. I have a very good answer for that.
Okay, bring it right up. So why are you riding the bike that you're riding, whereas you have so many better options probably in the price range or in the segment?
I think first of all, I would say a Japanese bike is a most reliable machine compared to the Europeans. And secondly, 10R comes with a lot less electronics than compared to a Ducati or a BMW. And I personally like the feedback with less electronics because I can develop myself more as a rider. There are less riding aids, so I have to work on my skill. And the ZX-10R requires more of rider input than the electronics itself.
Okay.
And again, the biggest point is the budget. If you compare the BMW or the Ducati, they are almost 25 lakhs more expensive compared to a 10R if you go to the top variant. Okay. And the price of the bike is not just the main on-road price, but it excludes accessories as well. So if you buy a bike worth 30 lakhs, you're going to spend more 5-6 lakhs for the track mods. So it becomes very expensive as well.
Right. Do you think your physical fitness, mental fitness comes into play?
Yeah, very, very much. Physical fitness is of course there for endurance because track riding is very, very, very tiring. It tires you out in 5-6 laps if you're a new rider. So for my level, I do 8 to 9 laps at the BIC continuously, and after that I'm done.
Okay.
Each session.
Okay, but do you do a drill for your fitness so you can ride better and you can ride for longer? Because I know and people, I've said this a lot of times, that for the first couple of rides I did on my Triumph Thunderbird Storm, I started getting crazy back pain, lower back pain, and after which deadlifts and lower back exercises just became a part of my routine. I knew that I wanted to ride until I can ride, and for that I need a strong back.
Right.
So do you have any?
It goes the same with track riding also. You need a strong back, you need a strong core, and you need strong legs.
Correct.
Because you ride the motorcycle with your legs, not just with your hands. So basically hands are this loose on the bars, so we call it chicken wings, and you hold the bars like a pen. So technically you could do a knee down or a corner without your hands on the bars. So the core and the legs are the main thing. For that, of course, you need endurance, cardio, and basic gym training.
Okay.
No special drills as such, but yeah, and of course cycling.
Cycling, okay. How difficult is it to do a knee down? Because I've seen it on TV, I've seen it in movies and all, but it just seems impossible for like a normal person to do it. And these racers, they just do it so effortlessly, like it's like a day in the park. Is it actually difficult going knee down, or once you get the technique, then I think it's pretty...
It is actually a misconception that knee down makes you a better rider. Knee down is just a byproduct of you going faster. Because when you are going fast and you see a corner, there are only two options. Either you lean with it or you go out of the corner. There are only two ways. So when you want to carry that speed, you carry more lean angle, and that's when your knee touches. So the aim of knee down is to gauge your lean angle, that how much more lower can you go.
Okay. That's it. Okay. Fair. Makes sense. So as a part of doing so much of track and being so passionate about it, have you ever thought of being in the race, or have you already been a part of a race or an event?
So I've raced nationals 2 times.
Oh, wow.
So one was the JK Tire National Championship in 2017 and 2018. So that experience was really, really amazing. But I don't honestly think there is a career if you start after the age of 15 in India.
Okay.
If you want to be a racer, you might be knowing Sarthak Sawan by any chance. If you
heard of.
If you know Sarthak Sawan, he's been into motocross first, and now he's racing at the Asia Road Racing Championship, and he might be making his way to Moto3, and he might be the second Indian ever to do that.
Wonderful.
I think if you want to race professionally, somebody should be into your someone from your family should be into the racing background. Because for a normal person, they might give you a bike. Even my parents supported me. But buying a bike at the age of 16 and then starting track days as a professional career to race is not possible.
Correct.
You have to start at the age of 6 or 7 on the track. So by the time you're 16, 17, you're already a national champion.
Correct. Also getting the right mentor. If nobody's in your family, getting the right mentor who will train you, who will show you, who will point you in the right direction. I think that's also very, very crucial to a sport like this.
Because I think motorsports has always been seen as entertainment in India, not as a real sport. Now you see the amount of football and cricket fans in India and the amount of motorsports fan in India. Even schools and government not used to recognize it before, but now I think they have added a tab in colleges for motorsport achievements as well. So which is a good thing. But now I think in the near future, that might be opportunity.
Okay.
Because opportunities are there, sponsors are there. We only need to start doing it.
Fair. Makes sense.
And there are not enough racers being seen on the Indian television or Indian motorsport platform. That's why no child's parents directly supports them into racing, plus the safety hazards.
Yeah, it's the lack of exposure, I think.
It's the lack of exposure.
All boils down to that. So when you raced nationals, what was your experience? Was it overwhelming, or all the stuff you tried on track and all the stuff you worked on, you could implement in a professional race, or was it just a time where you realized, okay, this is where I stand, and was it good or was it bad?
I think it was both of it.
Okay.
I noticed where I stand.
Okay.
And I noticed how fast people were.
Which is where?
Sorry?
Which is where? Where do you stand?
I was a complete noob at that point of time.
All right. Okay.
I did manage to finish a P11 out of 18, which was not a bad. But then in the last 2 laps, I got overlapped by the same motorcycle.
Okay. But what did you say? P what?
P11.
What is that? Explain it, please.
11th.
11th. Okay.
So I finished 11th.
11th position.
11th position.
Okay. Got it.
But then I got overlapped in the last 2 laps on the same motorcycle by a Chennai rider.
Okay.
And he was almost 20 seconds faster than me.
Oh, wow.
Because they were veterans.
Right. Is that a mind game also?
It is a mind game as well. Yeah.
Okay.
You need to be mentally strong, because when somebody overtakes you, it shouldn't demotivate you.
Correct.
It should push you to chase him. Because a lot of time what happens, even on open track days, you're already riding at your limit and a fast rider just passes you by like you're nothing. And that is sometimes demotivating. But sometimes then you try to catch him and you get a good lap time. That's how I've become fast.
Correct. So in terms of an upgrade, what are you looking at now? Do you think it's time for an upgrade, or are you happy with your Kawasaki?
I think I might upgrade it, but not for the next 2 years, because I am doing a 2:02 lap time at the BIC right now. And I think the 10R is capable of doing at least a 1 minute 57 seconds. So till the time I don't come close by to that time, going for a faster bike doesn't make sense, because if I'm not able to juice out this, then it doesn't make any sense for me to buy a bigger bike.
Correct. Makes sense.
I did make a small upgrade for weight loss in the bike just a week back. That's a full carbon fiber race body kit, and I deleted the headlights. So my bike is now on total with the exhaust, it's around -8 kgs.
Okay.
So the 10R weighs around 208 kgs. So now it's around 200 kgs.
Okay. All right. Cool. I think pretty much everything is done. कुछ रह गया?
मराठी content थोड़ा सा.
हाँ.
हो, मराठी बोलायला पाहिजे.
आता एवढं सगळं संपल्यावरती शेवटच्या 4 ओळी मराठीत बोलून काय मिळणार आहे?
नाही थोडंसं राहते.
जय महाराष्ट्र एवढं बोलू. Any other questions? Because my questions are over. I have a rapid fire.
रॅपिड फायर करू शकतो मराठीत अख्खा.
Done.
पण क्वेश्चन सगळे इंग्लिश मध्ये आहेत.
Writing मध्ये करा.
फेवरेट कॉर्नर इन लवासा असं कोण?
तो पण
मराठीत कसं सांगू?
तो पण पाठे.
हा, पण ते मराठीत कसं विचारू?
काय नाही.
सगळ्यात आवडता कोपरा लवासातला. चित्र वाटेल ते. एक मिनिट, मी जस्ट गो ओव्हर द क्वेश्चन्स. आपण कट केलं ना? रोल आहे, ठीक आहे. Okay, this is very enlightening. In fact, like I said, मी हार्डकोर ट्रॅक वाल्याशी कोणाशी बोललो नाहीये. पण आता थोडंसं I would like to divert a little bit and go into your content creation. म्हणजे मी तुला फॉलो करतो इंस्टाग्रामवरती वगैरे, आणि द काइंड ऑफ कंटेंट युअर मेकिंग इज एक्झेम्पलरी. असं मला वाटत नाही की कुठलाच टॉपिक आहे ज्याच्याबद्दल तू बोलला नाहीयेस. आणि इट्स व्हेरी इंट्युटिव्ह, इट्स व्हेरी नॉलेजेबल फॉर एनीबडी who has even a little bit of a craze for motorcycles. सो हा चॅनल तू सुरू करायचा कसा विचार केलास? आणखीन एवढ्या सगळ्या आयडियाज, म्हणजे इफ आय वॉन्ट टू स्टार्ट माय चॅनल, मला त्याच्यातली एक पण गोष्ट सुचणार नाही की मी ह्याच्याबद्दल बोलू शकतो, त्याच्याबद्दल बोलू शकतो. त्याच्यातलं तू रिसर्च कसा करतोस आणि हे सगळ्याचा विचार कसा केलास तू सुरू करायचा?
खरं सांगायचं झालं तर माझं कॉन्टेंट क्रिएशनचा कधी प्लॅनच नव्हता. आय मीन माझ्याकडे खूप ट्रॅक कॉन्टेंट तर होतच, बट मी नुसतं एल्बो डाऊन, नी डाऊन ह्याचेच फोटो टाकत बसायचो. बट एक दिवस असाच विचार केला की कोणीच ट्रॅक डे कव्हर करतच नाहीये. एवढे कॉन्टेंट क्रिएटर्स आहेत जे बाईक चालवत आहेत, मराठी क्रिएटर्स आहेत, इंग्लिश, हिंदी, सगळे लँग्वेजचे क्रिएटर्स आहेत. पण ट्रॅक डे हा एक असा ऍस्पेक्ट आहे जो कोणी कव्हरच करत नाही. मग म्हटलं मी तर 10 वर्ष एवढं स्पेंड पण केलंय, तर लोकांना एक त्याचा एक्सपिरियन्स का नको द्यायला?
बरोबर आहे. पण का पॉप्युलर नाहीये ट्रॅक डे? खूप एक्सपेन्सिव्ह आहे म्हणून?
आय थिंक ट्रॅक डे
एक्सपोजर कमी आहे.
एक्सपोजर पण कमी आहे, आणि मेनली इट्स व्हेरी एक्सपेन्सिव्ह. खूपच जास्त महाग आहे, सगळ्यांना अफोर्डेबल ऑनेस्टली नाहीये. कारण जर तुमचं बॅकग्राऊंड तेवढं फायनान्शियली स्ट्रॉंग असेल आणि हे एकदम मनापासून, आणि दिस इज द ट्रुथ, तरच यू कॅन डू रेग्युलर ट्रॅक डेज.
ओके. आणि कंटेंट बद्दल आपण बोलत होतो की हे का सुरू केलं तू? म्हणजे एवढं इन्फॉर्मेशन द्यायची इच्छा का होती? जस्ट टू गेट पॉप्युलर, ऑर डिड यू रिली वॉन्ट टू लर्न युअर सेल्फ, की मी शिकतो आणि मग मी लोकांना सांगतो सो माझं पण नॉलेज वाढेल का? व्हॉट वॉज द होल आयडिया बिहाइंड इट? ट्रॅक तर एक गोष्ट झाली, पण अपार्ट फ्रॉम ट्रॅक you're talking about everything. You're talking about spares, you're talking about motorcycles, you're talking about accessories, electronics, you're talking about everything. So हे स्पार्क कुठून झालं?
सो मी खूप सारे क्रिएटर्सला बघत होतो. ते लोक एक सुपर बाईक घेणार, कुठल्या तरी कॉलेजच्या बाहेर जाणार, आवाज करणार, किंवा सिटीत विली मारणार, हायवेला राईड्सला जाणार, फ्लाय बायचे शॉर्ट्स टाकणार. त्याचा काय अर्थच नाहीये. आणि मी ऍक्च्युली युट्यूब चालू केलं होतं स्टार्टिंगला, आणि मी पण याच इंटेन्शननी चालू केलं होतं की थोडंसं फेमस होऊया, बाईक आहे तर थोडं कूल वाटेल. आणि माझे पहिले 2 ब्लॉग्स पण तसेच होते. पहिला ब्लॉग वॉज की आपली मोटरसायकल साफ कशी करायला पाहिजे, आणि दुसरा एक ब्लॉग वॉज मी माझी 10R सिटीमध्ये फिरवत होतो, आणि लोकांना हे सांगायचं होतं की सुपर बाईक ऍक्च्युली सिटीमध्ये फिरवायला पाहिजे का नाही, किंवा इज इट ऍक्च्युली, हाऊ डू आय से इट, की ऍक्च्युली वेट, हाऊ डू आय फ्रेम इट, मला मराठीमध्ये फ्रेम करायचं अवघड होतं
इंग्लिश मध्ये बोल काय
स्वतःचीच भाषा विसरलो मी, एवढं इंग्लिश हिंदी झालंय.
नाही, माझं पण तेच होतं, कारण ऑन अ डेली मी इतका क्लायंटशी वगैरे सगळीकडे इंग्लिशमध्येच कन्व्हर्सेशन होतं. त्याच्यामुळे इव्हन व्हेन आय स्टार्ट टॉकिंग मराठी असं काहीतरी कोणतरी वेगळाच माणूस बोलला.
हा चलो आय एम बॅक.
हा
सो मला एक लोकांना दाखवायचं होतं की सुपरबाईक रोज घेणं प्रॅक्टिकल नाहीये सिटीमध्ये, आणि ती फक्त संडे राईड्स किंवा हायवे किंवा ट्रॅकवरच चालवली पाहिजे. बट नंतर युट्यूबला खूपच कष्ट लागायला लागले आणि 20-20 मिनिटाचा व्हिडिओ शूट करणं, एडिट करणं इज व्हेरी डिफिकल्ट. सो मी युट्यूब बंद केलं आणि मग इंस्टाग्रामवरती शिफ्ट झालो.
ओके.
आणि माझं कॉन्टेंट क्रिएशन ऑनेस्टली स्टार्ट झालं ट्रॅकच्या लोकांना. मला एक लोकांना ट्रॅकचा एक्सपिरियन्स द्यायचा होता जे लोक येऊ शकत नाही. कारण लोक आजपर्यंत काय बघत आलेत, ट्रॅकवरती जातो, नीडाऊन मारतो, एवढे पैसे खर्च करून येतो, बट त्याच्या मागचे कष्ट किंवा त्याच्या मागची स्टोरी कुणालाच माहित नव्हती. सो तेव्हा माझं ऍक्च्युअल कॉन्टेंट क्रिएशन चालू झालं. मी 4 मिनी ब्लॉगचा व्हिडिओचा एक सेट बनवला होता की पहिल्या दिवशीपासून की मी बॅगेत काय काय सामान नेतो, मग बाईकची तयारी कशी, मग बाईक तिथे पोहोचते कशी, मग तिथे बाईक गेल्यावर तिथे बाईक पोहोचल्यावर त्याची तयारी काय, आणि दिवसभर 2 दिवसाच्या ट्रॅक डे मध्ये तुम्ही काय एक्सपिरियन्स करता हे लोकांना दाखवलं. आणि आय थिंक त्यातला पहिलाच व्हिडिओ माझा 3 बिलियन प्लस गेला आणि तिथनं मला ऍक्च्युअली बूस्ट मिळाला. कारण त्या एकाच व्हिडिओ मधनं मला 18,000 फॉलोअर्स मिळाले आणि तिथनंच मिळालं मला माझं मोटिवेशन टू क्रिएट कॉन्टेंट.
पण इट्स फॅन्टॅस्टिक कंटेंट. म्हणजे आय रिअली अर्ज एव्हरीवन टू गो अँड फॉलो यू. ज्यांना थोडं पण रिमोटली मोटरसायकल्स आवडतात, दे शुड गो टू युअर पेज अँड फॉलो यू. What's your ID just for the audience?
My Instagram handle is my name only. You can either search Atharva Mandke or it's Atharva_093.
Okay, wonderful. That's amazing.
93 stands for my idol, which is Mark Marquez.
Okay. There you go. Like I said, not like I said, कारण आपण ऑफ कॅमेरा बोलत होतो की द फर्स्ट टाइम आय मेट यू वॉज ॲट अन ॲक्सेसरी स्टोर.
राईट.
जिथे मोटरसायकलच्या ॲक्सेसरीजसाठी मी आलो होतो आणि तिकडे आय थिंक यू वर सो पॅशनेट अबाउट एव्हरीथिंग दॅट वॉज हॅपनिंग, लाईक यू वर लाईक अ एक्साइटेड किड इन अ टॉय स्टोर.
एक्झॅक्टली.
तर तिथे आय थिंक मला वाटतं ॲक्सेसरीज, आणखीन स्पेअर्स आणि मोटरसायकल्स आणि रायडिंग गिअर्स, आय थिंक ह्याची कुठे ना कुठेतरी आय थिंक यू हॅड दॅट किड इन यू. So I think your channel and your content is in a lot of ways an extension of that bug that you had in you since a long time.
नक्कीच. कारण मी जेव्हा बायकिंग सुपरस्टोरला काम करत होतो तेव्हा मला थोडासा वर्क एक्सपिरियन्स हवा होता. कारण कोविड नंतर तसं करायला काय नव्हतंच.
करेक्ट.
तर म्हटलं थोडासा मोटरसायकल फील्ड मधून आपण एक्सपिरियन्स घेऊ आणि कधीतरी डेफिनेटली उपयोगी येईलच.
बरोबर.
आणि तोच आता मला त्यातला बऱ्यापैकी एक्सपिरियन्स मला कॉन्टेंट मध्ये पण उपयोगी येतो. आणि माझं कॉन्टेंट मोस्टली माझ्या एक्सपिरियन्स मधनच आलंय.
राईट.
काय आयडियाज आहेत. आता फॉर एक्झाम्पल जर नवीन बाईक्स आल्या त्याचे रिव्ह्यूज करायचे असतील तर ते सगळं नवीन आयडिएशन आहे, पण जेवढं ट्रॅकचं आहे तेवढं मी माझ्या एक्सपिरियन्स शेअर करतोय. कारण की कुठलाच क्रिएटर हे करत नाही, आणि ज्या लोकांना रायडिंग स्कूल परवडत नाही त्यांना जर माझ्या व्हिडिओ थ्रू इव्हन बेसिक कळेल आणि थोडंसं जरी सेफ चालवायला लागेल रोडवरती, किंवा एक माणूस जो हेल्मेट घालत नाहीये त्या माणसाने अजून 2 लोकांना इन्फ्लुएन्स केलं की तुम्ही हेल्मेट घाला, तर ती माझ्यासाठी एक विनच आहे.
डेफिनेटली मेक सेन्स.
कारण मी जेव्हा रायडिंग चालू केलं होतं तेव्हा हे सगळं शिकवायला मला कोणीच नव्हतं. तेच माझं मेन मोटिव्ह होतं की 2 लोक माझ्यामुळे शिकू देत आणि सेफ राहू देत. कारण रायडिंग कम्युनिटी वाढत चालली. आधी जेवढ्या बाईक होतं त्याच्यापेक्षा 10 पट बाईक आहे. कारण आता आपलं ऍव्हरेज मार्केट सेगमेंटच 300-400 सीसी झालंय. एव्हरी यंगस्टर हॅज अ 300 or 400 सीसी मोटरसायकल.
करेक्ट.
बट खूप लोकांना अजून सेफ्टी माहित नाहीये, हेल्मेट कुठलं घ्यायचं, रेटिंग काय असेल, त्याचं एक्सपायरी डेट बघायला पाहिजे की नाही, कुणाला काही माहितच नाहीये. सो हे कुणीतरी करायला पाहिजे ना. सो हा एक ग्रे एरिया मला दिसला, तर म्हटलं आपण का नको करायला.
नाही, खूप भारी आहे. आणि इनफॅक्ट तुझे सगळे टॉपिक्स वगैरे पण जे चूज करतोस ना, आर थिंग्स म्हणजे जे मी कधी विचार केले नसते, पण ॲट द सेम टाइम आय वॉन्ट इन्फॉर्मेशन ऑन दोज टॉपिक्स. सो आय थिंक 10 on 10 फॉर युअर कंटेंट.
अजून एक सिम्पल एक्झाम्पल ऍक्च्युअली देऊ शकतो. मध्ये एक मी व्हिडिओ केला होता. ऍडजस्टेबल सस्पेन्शनच्या नावाने लोक रडत असतात. ऍडजस्टेबल सस्पेन्शन पाहिजे, या गाडीत हे नाही, पण लोकांना माहितच नाही ऍडजस्टेबल सस्पेन्शन मध्ये असतं काय. 3 मेन गोष्टी असतात.
माझ्या गाडीला आहे, मी कसं युज करून कुठे युज करू हे मला अजूनपर्यंत माहित नाही ऑनेस्टली.
सो ऍडजस्टेबल सस्पेन्शन मध्ये 3 मेन गोष्टी असतात: रिबाउंड, प्रीलोड आणि कम्प्रेशन. या 3 गोष्टी मी माझ्या व्हिडिओमध्ये एक्सप्लेन केल्यात. आणि आता अजून एक लवकरच व्हिडिओ येतो ज्याच्यात मी शिकवणार आहे की घरातल्या घरात तुम्हाला पैसे खर्च न करता घरातल्या घरात सस्पेन्शन सेटअप कसा करता येईल. कारण सस्पेन्शन सेटअप ही एक खूप इम्पॉर्टंट गोष्ट आहे आणि युजली शोरूमच्या बाहेर बाईक काढायच्या आधीच केली गेली तर इव्हन बेटर आहे. कारण त्यांनी तुमचं टायर लाईफ वाचतं, तुमचं कंट्रोल बेटर होतं, तुमचं ब्रेकिंग पण बेटर होतं.
वंडरफुल. गुड इन्फॉर्मेशन हिअर. सो आय थिंक I think whatever I had to talk to you. Of course, I have a lot of other questions in my head, but I'm trying to keep it relevant to track and your content and whatever you're doing as a individual. So I've got a quick rapid fire for you.
चालेल ना.
So without thinking, एक sentence किंवा एका word मध्ये उत्तर देऊन टाक, even if it's not aligned
Vague.
to what. Yeah.
ठीक आहे.
Yeah, so starts with the favorite corner in Lavasa.
C20 कारण तिथे अथर्व हॉटेल होतं.
Okay, that came very quick. Yeah. One upgrade under 20,000 that changed your riding the most.
Brake pads and brake oil.
Okay. Most undervalued rider skill today.
Vision.
Okay. The same thing you said. Ki look where you
Look
go.
where you want to go.
Target
fixation.
Fixation. Yeah, correct.
Look where you want to go.
Look where
Not
you
look
want.
where you're going.
Ha,
Then you
correct.
end up somewhere.
End up somewhere else. Yeah. Favorite bike you've ever owned.
Favorite bike?
Favorite bike you have ever owned.
Owned. I think the Kawasaki ZX-10R, of course.
Okay. And a dream bike you would want to own.
Panigale V4S 2025.
Okay. First word that comes to your mind when you hear track day.
Elbow down.
Morning ride or night ride?
Morning ride.
What is more exciting, a perfect corner or a long straight?
Corner, of course.
Okay. What is your RPM sweet spot for fun?
14,000 is the cutoff.
So, helmet color preference.
Red.
One motorcycle you wish you could try for a day.
I think the S1000 RR 2025.
Okay. Most used emoji when talking about bikes.
There you go. Hearts.
Had to be that. Music playlist or engine noise?
Engine noise.
If you could tour anywhere in the world right now, where would you go?
I think I want to do Europe, France.
All right. Biggest riding pet peeve?
पहिला. Biggest riding pet peeve. असं काही नाहीच आहे माझ्या डोक्यात.
Okay. बाकीचे लोक जे करतात ज्याच्यानी which is a pet peeve for you?
I think revving your motorcycle all around in the city.
Oh God, you said it. You said it. आणि ते बुलेटचा तो
आणि हा बुलेटचे फटाके.
फटाके किती irritating आहे.
Irritating. Worst thing to hear.
I don't know how that is pleasurable from any point of view in any world.
It is not pleasurable for others and even for your motorcycle.
Absolutely. Last question is two favorite foods post a ride.
Two favorite foods post ride. I think a lot of bananas and dosa. I love South Indian.
Okay, wonderful. Great. That's about it then. Thank you so much for doing this.
Thanks a lot for having me.
A lot of fun, different topics, and we touched upon a lot of different things. So once again, thank you for your time.
Thanks a lot for inviting me.
Pleasure. ठीक है?